A story. Sad is the man who is asked for a story and can't come up with one. His 5-year-old son waits in his lap. Not the same story, Baba, a new one. The man rubs his chin, scratches his ear. In a room full of books, in a world of stories, he can recall not one, and soon he thinks the boy will give up on his father. Already the man lives far ahead. He sees the day the boy will go. Don't go. Hear the alligator story, the angel story once more. You love the spider story. You laugh at the spider. Let me tell it. But the boy is packing his shirts. He's looking for his keys. Are you a god? The man screams. That I sit meat before you? Am I a god that I should never disappoint? But the boy is here. Please, Baba, a story. It is an emotional rather than logical equation, an earthly rather than heavenly one, which posits that a boy's supplications and a father's love add up to silence.
Let's move on to an analysis of this poem. We want to keep in mind that the poem is going to show a complex relationship between father and son by using point of view and structure. First, we want to analyze the title. The article a makes its noun singular and non-specific. Story is a very broad term that can mean anything from a fairy tale to recounting the past. The whole title is composed of only 2 words in a single line. Next, we'll analyze the first stanza. We can see it is from the point of view of a man. This stanza has only 2 lines. Let's analyze the second stanza. The point of view shifts to the man's young son. The son affectionately calls his father Baba, a name for dad in multiple languages. The son is imploring his father to tell a new story. The father's body language, rubbing his chin and scratching his ear, shows he is thinking hard and hearing something he does not like. The second stanza has 3 lines. The point of view shifts back to the father. Irony is employed as the father describes not recalling any stories, although he lives in a world full of them. The father's tone becomes defeated as he shifts to the future and worries about his son giving up on him. This stanza gains 1 more line to have a total of 4 lines. This stanza remains in the future. The father desperately begs his son to not leave, which could mean growing up or literally leaving the home. The reference to the alligator symbolizes fierce protection. Angels can represent purity and protection. Spiders invoke control through weaving their webs. The father does not want to lose any of these, and his tone morphs into pleas and desperation. This stanza has the most lines, 5, which parallels the peak of desperation in the narrator's tone. Here in stanza 5, the boy is growing older and getting new responsibilities. Lee uses a metaphor to relate the feeling of helplessness the father feels to the unpredictability of divine intervention. The father has a frustrated tone. In the last stanza, we shift back to the current time frame and the point of view of the boy. Juxtaposition of the words emotional opposed to logical and earthly as opposed to heavenly show this father-son relationship is uniquely human. The conclusion is made that silence that the father and son shared is just a byproduct of the human experience. Let's recap our analysis in a tip-fast chart. The title told us there is a universal tale that we can relate to. We can recall that a father worries about satisfying his son's thirst for new stories. His fear escalates into his son leaving him. The father and son relationship is presented as a human experience. Lee employs lots of figurative language. He uses a metaphor that relates the helpless feeling of the father to God's ultimate powers. Juxtapositions show a unique human experience. The attitude of the father is very desperate and solemn. The son is imploring. Multiple shifts in point of view and time frame are throughout the poem. Stanzas become increasingly longer as the father becomes more panicked. After re-examining the title, the father's loss for his story is ironic because he is actually telling a universal story about the relationship between father and son. The overall message of the poem is a father-son relationship goes through struggles as each gets older, which is a unique aspect of the human experience.